Neville Goddard, The Feeling is the Secret, 1944. It's going to be a good book. Remember, this is after Neville's Army experience, so this is going to this is when he goes into gear, I think, so it's going to be great. Of many books, there is no end. Ecclesiastes 11:12. He that would perfect himself in any art whatsoever, let him betake himself to the reading of some sure and certain works upon his art, many times over. For to read many books upon your art produceth confusion rather than learning. Old saying. Forward. This book is concerned with the art of realizing your desire. It gives you an account on the mechanism used in the production of the visible world. It is a small book, but not slight. There is a treasure in it, a clearly defined road to the realization of your dreams. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I mean, doesn't that sound wonderful? If you were a kid and you heard that the realization of your dreams is this way, you'd be like, okay. Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned arguments and detailed instances, this book would be many times its size. It is seldom possible, however, to do so by means of written statements or arguments, since to the suspended judgment it always seems plausible to say that the author was dishonest or deluded and therefore his evidence was tainted. Very long sentence. I'm going to repeat it. Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned... Oh, no, excuse me. Yeah, let's go for that. Were it possible... let's just clean it all up like brushing tangled hair, okay? Were it possible to carry conviction to another by means of reasoned arguments and detailed instances, this book would be many times its size. It is seldom possible, however, to do so by means of written statements or arguments, since to the suspended judgment it always seems plausible to say that the author was dishonest or deluded and therefore his evidence was tainted. Consequently, I have purposely omitted all arguments and testimonials and simply challenged the open-minded reader to practice the law of consciousness as revealed in this book. Personal success will prove far more convincing than all the books that could be written on the subject. Neville. Chapter 1, Law and its Operation. It's going to get good. The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. Knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method of operating this law will enable you to accomplish all that you desire in life. Armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream in which divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. Likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. Remember that. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. These two aspects are the male and female divisions of consciousness. The conscious is male, the subconscious is female. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. By this law, first conceiving an idea and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness. And without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. Alrighty, all that is, I am God, right here, right in the middle. Figuratively speaking, center of everything. You, I, this is you, this is me, this is the old me, this is the newer me, this is another me coming, this is another me of the past, doesn't matter, this is your brother, this is your mother. All these are self-concepts. These are also could be called states. But in each of these self-concepts is within us all that is, I am, which is our source. We're all plugged into that source. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. The conscious impresses. If you're here, this is your present self-conception that you have. This is where you are currently, and you want to be here. You're single and you're not married, but you want to be married and you want to be happy in a loving relationship. Where you are here, the conscious impresses the subconscious. The male impresses the female. The male of you impresses the female of you. You impress your consciousness. Once that impression is made, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. When you impress that consciousness, which is the subconscious, that expresses all that is impressed upon it. If you're here and you're not married and you want to be happily married and loving and have a relationship, and you impress your consciousness with that, you feel it real as you fall to sleep in your sats, your state akin to sleep. You're feeling yourself with the ring on your finger. You're feeling yourself in the marriage, in the spooning position, in your happy, loving relationship. That impression goes into your consciousness, and that consciousness, your subconsciousness, expresses that impression. It becomes, in 3D reality, a new event. A bridge of incidents occurs. You meet somebody, you go on a date, you go out dancing, you go out to a concert, you go to dinner, you find yourself eating the same foods, enjoying the same things, speaking the same language, finishing each other's sentences, etc. You don't know how or why, but miraculously, this thing just came together because you impressed your subconscious. You did the impression. No one else did it for you. You did it. The desire came from within, of course, but that desire is just trying to give you the solution to what you want. The desire itself is one thing, the urge to be married and in love. The desire is also has the solution embedded within it. So the desire gives you the urge for the relationship. Then that urge helps you impress. The subconscious does not originate ideas, but accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true, and in a way, known only to itself, objectifies the accepted ideas. Objectification objectifies the accepted ideas. Therefore, through his power to imagine and feel and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. The mechanism of creation is hidden in the very depth of the subconscious, the female aspect or womb of creation. The subconscious transcends reason and is independent of induction. It contemplates a feeling as a fact, existing within itself, and on this assumption proceeds to give expression to it. You must be very careful with what you imagine and what you feel as real, because it will be in your world real. When I say be very careful, all I'm saying is be very selective. What is it I want to experience and have as a feeling of my reality? Feel that. Feel what you want to enjoy. Go into your closet, close the door, you're in privacy, you're fishing, you're hunting. What is it I do want to experience and have as the joy of my life? Impress what that feels like onto your consciousness. It's going into your subconscious. Impress, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to hear my friend tell me the good news that I am that? That is an impression. That is a conception which happens here in your current limited reality, which is because you want to be here in this limited self. That impression becomes expressed. The creative process begins with an idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. That volition to act could be simply, oh, I don't want to go to that concert with my girlfriends because, I don't know, we're going to run into a bunch of guys, and how do I have to act? I don't feel comfortable. Or go to the bar or go to dinner or whatever it is. But the volition to act, after you make this impression, the volition to act, okay, I'm going to go. You guys talk me into it. And there, when you're at the dinner, you meet somebody. Somebody notices you and you notice them, and before you know it, fireworks are flying. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. This is why you must be careful of what you impress upon yourself. If you think all men are evil or are the devil or are the worst thing a woman could ever want, that kind of thing you impress yourself with, or because you saw a movie that said that or showed you that, you're going to impress your subconscious. You don't want that junk. You don't want others' beliefs. You want your new reality to be the opposite of what you have been using before, and is why you're single. You can change this. All men are loving, caring, nurturing. All men are loving, caring, and nurturing. All men are loving, caring, nurturing. You impress your subconscious with that. You've now forgiven men, and you now will have an experience with men. You'll say hi, you'll be communicative, you'll talk, you'll have interaction. It'll be a whole different playing field. When you impress the negative here, you're only going to get objectified negative experience. So you have to change it. The root of this is you. The root of this is your subconscious impressions that you have been serving. You need to change those if they've been limiting your experience. Because good, bad, or indifferent, it will be expressed. No matter what you put in, it's going to come out. What's the old computer saying? Garbage in, garbage out. You want to watch it. Try and serve in the good. What you want to experience is what you're going to get anyway. What you're going to get and what you're going to experience is what you fed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Now, it isn't just language. It isn't just affirmation. It's what you feel. It isn't like I'm going to tell myself as I go to sleep, I am married, I am married. No, it's not affirmation. It's not. There are a nice amount of people that believe affirmation is the one and only way, and that's wonderful. It is a way, like all the other ways, that you get to become self-persuaded. What we're talking about right now is self-persuasion. Any way you can get to self-persuasion is a good thing. So if you're using affirmation and while you're affirming, you're feeling it, then you're on the right track, because the feeling is what we're talking about. So affirmation is not to be outlawed or ruled out as the solution, but it's the feeling that's the important piece we're trying to discuss here. So if you can mix feeling with affirmation, if in case you are just doing affirmation, drum up the feeling, bring the feeling in. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious, because you have to get to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. Very wonderful sentence. By control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. What makes you happy? Feel those things. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. We could stop and pause and take in that one sentence. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. What is it you feel about anything? It's that is what you've been impressing. What do you feel about men? What do you feel about women? What do you feel about work? What do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? Your feelings are what you've been impressing into your subconscious. Therefore, your experience has been under your control. You have been this whole time the creator of what you're experiencing. Your imagination mixed with your feelings is how you are creating what you are experiencing. So to back off of this and understand that it's been you the whole time, you can withdraw into your feelings and brew new feelings. I want to feel happy and in love with a partner. Boom. Objectification happens because you felt it real as you went to sleep. I want to feel wealthy. I want to feel healthy. What does that feel like to be healthy? What does that feel like to be wealthy? What does it feel like to go to my computer and do all my bank transfers? I don't have to worry. All my balances are at zero. What does that feel like? What does it feel like that I go to the doctor and he says, I don't need to see you for another 6 months or a year if you want. Everything looks good. What does that feel like when you hear that good news? Congratulations. We don't need to see you for another year or two. If you want to come by for a checkup, that's fine, but you're a solid, healthy person. We haven't seen any like you in such a long time. It's rare, but congratulations. Or your banker calling you like you're the Beverly Hillbillies. If you haven't seen that show, you might look it up. But this family had struck gold, and they had so much money in the bank that the bankers were always kissing their butt all the time, trying to see how they could keep them happy because and this family didn't really care about that oil money, but they had lots of it. It's a very fun and sarcastic show, but it's funny. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Now, this is a big warning. Never entertain an undesirable feeling nor think sympathetically about any wrong in any shape or form. If someone else is telling you and they want you to share in their belief that something's wrong, they send you a video, they send you a whatever, social media post, and they want you to share in the misery. They want you to commiserate with them on what they believe about that post or about that story or whatever it is. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form, because you're going to impress your subconscious, and that's what's been creating your reality. What you experience through the objectification of that impression is how your life happens. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. I remember long ago when my teacher taught me about that word perfect. I have a certain quality that has me leaning towards that, desiring that word continuously. And so in the beginning, which was over 3 decades ago, she would say, she asked me point blank, what can you name, if anything in the world, just name one thing for me, is perfect. And I sat there and I was stumped. I was just like, what is perfect? Oh my gosh, I don't think anything's perfect. She trapped me. She trapped me because I had then admitted nothing in the world is perfect. And then she asked me, well, then why do you compare everything of yourself against something you just admitted doesn't exist? And I indeed did it on the cassette tape because she was recording the class. I ask you, what if you can't name anything in this world that is perfect? The same question, which brings us back to Neville. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. I hope the pain of my learning that lesson helped you, because it was a doozy. It took me a while. It took me a minute to deal with that. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. If you're looking for perfection, it's not the way. What you do want done unto you, what you do not want done, what you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. Don't play victim. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. This one bit right here, this one half of the paragraph is all of it. Starting with, by control of feeling is not meant restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feeling as contributes to your happiness. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. Now, I don't know what's coming in this book yet, but that right there, you could stop and really just sit with that for a long while. It's the most impactful statement. Wow. Okay, but we got to keep moving. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling of an opposite nature, must be expressed. The dominant of two feelings is the one expressed. I am healthy is a stronger feeling than I will be healthy. To feel I will be is to confess I am not. I am is stronger than I am not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. What you feel you are always dominates what you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that it is, rather than a state that it is not. What you feel you are always dominates what you feel you would like to be. Therefore, to be realized, the wish must be felt as a state that is, rather than a state that is not. Sensation precedes manifestation, and it is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. Be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Your body is an emotional filter and bears the unmistakable marks of your prevalent emotions. Emotional disturbances, especially suppressed emotions, are the causes of all disease. To feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling is the beginning of disease, dis-ease in both body and environment. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. That was a very big point when I studied the Seth material. There was a point, and I think it was the ESP class sessions, that Seth was telling a student, I believe, that when they had a neighbor that was very loud, and the neighbor playing the stereo loud and being disturbing to all the other neighbors. I think it might have been even to Jane and Rob, of a neighbor they had while they had neighbors in their hill house. They had the urge to go tell them and knock on the door and say, hey, you need to keep it down. And Seth said that it was a responsibility to go knock on the door because they needed to hear it as much as you needed to say it. And if you didn't go, you weren't taking responsibility of that whole situation. And it isn't to be out there correcting everybody in the world. It was that the event was happening to draw you into responsibility, because that's where you needed to be. This sentence, to feel intensely about a wrong without voicing or expressing that feeling, meaning go over there and knock on the door and say, hey, keep it down. Hey, can you hold it down? Whatever, is the beginning of disease. To feel intensely about those neighbors being too loud and not voicing it, not going and knocking on that door, is to feel intensely without voicing or expressing that feeling. It's the beginning of disease. dis-ease in both body and environment. I don't know if we're going to hit it now, but he says in other areas or lectures, be angry but sin not. And I might as well throw it in here, but be angry means voice it, let it express. Don't hold it back about what you feel is a wrong. Be angry but sin not. And what that means is you express your anger at the grocery store, at the drive-through, wherever it is. If you feel it, you express it. But sin not means as you fall to sleep, you don't hold that anger. That anger you expressed in the moment, and when you go to sleep, you know that disturbance happened and it's gone. It's flowed away. It's not entertaining in you anymore. It's gone. You expressed it, it's gone. When you go to sleep, you feel the harmony of life and the wonder and magic of all of this together. We're all one. That means sin not. You don't hold and harbor that anger when you go to sleep. You let that go. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure, for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. Do not entertain the feeling of regret or failure, for frustration or detachment from your objective results in disease. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. This one here. I want to be happily married and in love. Boom. Think feelingly only of that. There is a lot of distractions happening left and right and up the middle. Is there this thing called social media? Yes, there is. Does it come across on your mobile device? Yes, it does. How much? A lot of it. Depends on what you subscribe to. If you want to be distracted, there's plenty to be distracted by. And what will those distractions do? They'll keep you unfocused of your desire. They help pull you in every other direction, north, east, west, and south. They pull you everywhere but where you should be focused, on your desire. Unless you're here and single and you want to be happily married, I approve of what is that channel again? The Hallmark Channel. Okay, romance. Movies that end with very happy romance. There's nothing wrong with that because that's proper programming to keep you focused on your desire. I agree with that. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. All changes of expression are brought about through a change of feeling. A change of feeling is a change of destiny. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. All creation occurs in the domain of your subconscious. This is you not experiencing what you want to experience. All creation happens in the domain of the subconscious. What you must acquire then is a reflective control of the operation of the subconscious. That is, control of your ideas and feelings. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you. Nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. Your subconscious impressions determine the conditions of your world. The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. Where does the subconscious come from? This is you. This is your current self-conception. Your subconscious here is coming from all that is. I am God. So your subconscious is no respecter of persons also. It takes whatever you give it and objectifies it. It doesn't matter what you give it. It's going to make real in your 3D experience that which you impress upon it. Period. You want to be careful what you are impressing. Even though your 3D world is showing you the limitation, it's showing you that relationships not working out in your friends at work, in your friends at whatever. Other personal relationships you've seen are ending. That doesn't matter. That is not you. Your impression is the success of relationship is what you're impressing into your subconscious. Others are not your business. That's their experience, not yours. Your experience is the impression of I am happily married. I am that married self I am. I am that in love person I am. I am that happy, loving partner I am. I am always having fun with my relationships. I am. Your subconscious will take that impression, however you word it or however you phrase it, or it's based on feeling. You want to feel it. Whatever you feel, that subconscious is no respecter of persons, because that subconscious is from him. Him, all that is God, no respecter of persons. It will take what you deliver and it will go ahead and handily to him that hath it is given. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. No respecter. It is given. Guaranteed. The subconscious is not selective. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. The subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. What you feel to be true. Feeling is the assent of the subconscious to the truth of that which is declared to be true. Because of this quality of the subconscious, there is nothing impossible to man. Nothing impossible to man. Remember, if you are this self-concept, there is, all of his creations are done. So there is one where you are happily married. There is one where you're happily married with children in a new house. There is one where you're happily married with children in a new house, and you have a new car, and you have a wonderful career and job in addition to all the above. All of his creations are done. There's nothing impossible to man. Any and all exist. If someone else is doing it, there's nothing holding you back from impressing your subconscious and you also doing it. Nothing is in your way. Literally nothing, except yourself. Excuse me. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true, the subconscious can and must objectify. Your feelings create the pattern from which your world is fashioned, and a change of feeling is a change of pattern. The subconscious never fails to express that which has been impressed upon it. The moment it receives an impression, it begins to work out the ways of its expression. It accepts the feeling impressed upon it, your feeling, as a fact existing within itself, and immediately sets out to produce in the outer or objective world the exact likeness of that feeling, right into the objective world. Bridge of incidents. You all of a sudden meet the man who is, you meet the man who's going to be the father of your babies. You meet somebody and you just feel this electric feeling and you're like, oh, this feels right. Well, I don't know what it is, but let me just keep going this way. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of man. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. It never alters the accepted beliefs of man. In this self-concept, let's say our would-be bank robber over here, he has desires from inside of him from all that is, who is no respecter of persons, is not judging what he does for his living of robbing banks. We're having fun here, okay? This criminal-minded person robbing banks has a desire inside to go rob another bank, to get that pallet of gold, to get that cache of a casket of gold coins. The desire from within is given to him because all that is no respecter of persons. God, I am, does not say you should. It doesn't go shouldn't on us. So the desire is as important and to solve the problem of this self-concept. This impression goes into the subconscious of this person, and the objective outer destiny, I say destiny, but it's a reality, then becomes the opportunity to find that perfect score, the perfect robbery, whatever it is. These movies are made night and day, you know. I forget the ones, but there's plenty. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of man. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. To impress the subconscious with the desirable state, you must assume the feeling that would be yours had you realized your wish. In defining your objective, you must be concerned only with the subjective, In defining your objective, you must be concerned only with the objective itself. The objective is to be happily married and in love. You must only be concerned with that objective only. You've gone into your meditation and you've seen it, what it would feel great to be happily married. I am happily married. I am. It feels great. Feels good to be with my partner. Feels good to go shopping. Feels good to go to the movies, to go to dinner, etc., etc., etc. The feeling, what does that feel like? The manner of expression or the difficulties involved are not to be considered by you. Never, ever, ever be concerned with how. Forget about how. Drop it. There is no how necessary. His ways are past finding out. To think feelingly on any state impresses it in, to think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. Any state. Therefore, if you dwell on difficulties, barrier, or delay, the subconscious, by its very non-selective nature, accepts the feeling of difficulties and obstacles as your request and proceeds to produce them in your outer world. You have been doing this perfectly all this time. You're already really, really good at it. Look at your current reality and at the limitations you're experiencing. You have put yourself there wonderfully by using perfectly your subconscious, by exactly what he just described. You're already good at this. You're already really good at this. And then you act surprised, but these are your feelings that you're trying to be surprised by. You're the one that used feelings to impress your subconscious with. And then you wake up and the objectification of that, let's say, not fun experience with the opposite sex ends up to be your experience. You're the one that impressed your subconscious with that. By believing someone else's story, by believing a movie, by taking that programming and putting feeling into it. I'm going to repeat, to think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. Therefore, if you dwell on difficulties, barriers, or delay, the subconscious, by its very non-selective nature, accepts the feeling of difficulties and obstacles as your request and proceeds to produce them in your outer world. The subconscious is the womb of creation. The subconscious is the womb of creation. It receives the idea unto itself through the feelings of man. It never changes the idea received, but always gives it form. Hence, the subconscious outpictures the idea in the image and likeness of the feeling received. To feel a state as hopeless or impossible is to impress the subconscious with the idea of failure. To feel a state as hopeless or impossible is to impress the subconscious with the idea of failure. Although the subconscious faithfully serves man, it must not be inferred that the relation is that of a servant to a master, as was anciently conceived. The ancient prophets called it the slave and servant of man. St. Paul personified it as a woman and said, the woman should be subject to man in everything. The subconscious does not serve man and faithfully gives form to his feelings. However, the subconscious has a distinct distaste for compulsion and responds to persuasion rather than to command. Consequently, it resembles the beloved wife more than the servant. The husband is head of the wife. May not be true of man and woman in their earthly relationship, but it is true of the conscious and the subconscious. That was Ephesians 5. The husband is head of the wife. May not be true of man and woman in their earthly relationship, but it is true of the conscious and the subconscious, or the male and female aspect of consciousness. The mystery to which Paul referred when he wrote, "This is a great mystery, he that loveth his wife loveth himself, and they two shall be one flesh," is simply the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is really one and undivided, but for creation's sake it appears to be divided in two. Just remember, They shall be, and they two shall be one flesh. Inside of you is the male and the female. You have the womb of yourself and the male of yourself, the active principle and the passive principle, the outer and the inner, the conscious and the subconscious. These two exist in each of you, us, all self-concepts. We have that merry-making womb inside of us. This is a great mystery. He that loveth his wife, loveth himself, and they two shall be one flesh. It's simply the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is really one and undivided, but for creation's sake, it appears to be divided into two. The conscious, objective, or male aspect truly is the head and dominates the subconscious, the subjective, or female aspect. The conscious or male aspect truly is the head and dominates the subconscious or female aspect. However, this leadership is not that of a tyrant, but of the lover. So, by assuming the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your objective, the subconscious is moved to build the exact likeness of your assumption. Your desires are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is an idea subconsciously accepted, and only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. You have been doing this your whole concept. You have been doing this your whole self-concept. I'd like to say life, but I'd rather say self-concept, because in any self-concept, you have been doing this, otherwise you wouldn't be. You couldn't be unless you were doing this. From very young. What does a toddler have but feeling food? We don't know, and nor can we go and read the thoughts. Maybe some of us can. But what does it feel like to have that? They're reaching for that to put right here. They want to know what it feels like. I'm assuming here. It is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. Oh boy, I'm telling you, this is the first chapter and there's some heavy hitting things in here. It is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. It's easier to ascribe your feelings to things out here rather than take the responsibility for what you're feeling here. When you point out here, you're missing the mark. Why not take and assume responsibility for your creations, therefore take control of your creations by the idea of feeling it real? It's easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. However, it is eternally true that the outside mirrors the inside. As within, so without. A man can receive nothing unless it is given him from heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Nothing comes from without. Nothing comes from without. All things come from within, from the subconscious, right here. It is impossible for you to see other than the contents of your subconscious. Your world in its every detail is your consciousness objectified. Objective states bear witness of subconscious impressions. A change of impression results in a change of expression. The subconscious accepts as true that which you feel as true, and because creation is the result of subconscious impressions, you, by your feeling, determine creation. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. all of his creations are done. You are already that which you want to be. The desire wouldn't have come into this inside of you if it wasn't already a fact. You cannot feel what it is like as a desire unless it was already. Remember, all time is now. There is no sequence of time. We'll do a separate video on this someday. But all time is now. You can only really prove right now. There's no past and there's no future. But let's look at this again. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. If the desire is within you to be happily married and in love, in a wonderful relationship, then that already exists. All of his creations are done. If this didn't exist with you actually there, you couldn't have the desire. It would not be possible for you to have the desire if in fact it didn't exist. The you happily married, the you happily wealthy, the you happily healthy, the you happily in freedom. That's why it's very, very important that you do not ever be concerned with when you learn the law and start applying it for yourself. It doesn't matter what your age or anything else. It matters that you apply it, because there is a you that exists complete with those desires you have within you now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have those desires. The desire brings the solution to it as a problem. If this is one of limitation, the desire of this reality is bloomed in here. It's automatically embedded in here, but all you have to do is feel it. So you can put that into the subconscious. Then this marriage happens. The idea becomes a conception, giving birth to this reality. If this reality already exists, all you're really doing is taking your waking self that was here and waking up here in this reality. You're waking up in this new reality. It's objectified. The subconscious is the only part of you that will make that happen. But you have to impress that subconscious. Just because the desire is within you doesn't mean all this is automatic. I'm just going to go ahead and just sit back and just go like being on a tube on a river. Not going to work. You have to use your feelings to impress your subconscious. It's not happening for you. In fact, you've already been doing this already all this time. Quote unquote time. I know it doesn't exist. We're just using it for fun here. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain, for we never find that which we want, we find only that which we are. Wonderful sentence, I'm going to repeat it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain, for we never find that which we want, we find only that which we are. In short, you express and have only that which you are conscious of being or possessing. To him that hath, it is given. Denying the evidence of the senses and appropriating the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the way to the realization of your desire. Deny the evidence of the senses. If you're here, you must ignore what you are experiencing and create within you the feeling of what it would be like to have, which is what you're not seeing in front of you. You have to drum up the feeling and impress the subconscious with what is not in front of you. If you're single, not married, and not happy with that situation, and you want to be married and happily in love, you must drum up in yourself the feeling of that, and then embed that into your subconscious. Thereby, the subconscious does the work. You don't have to be concerned with how. Objectifies, bridge of incidents, all of a sudden you're meeting, going on dates, etc. It seems to be he's trying to tell us, Neville, that the feeling is the secret, isn't it? Isn't he? Okay, mastery of self. Mastery of self. Control your thoughts and feelings. Okay, control your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. Mastery of self, hyphen, control of your thoughts and feelings, hyphen, is your highest achievement. control of your thoughts and feelings. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances you feel all that you want to feel, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. These are two gateways into the subconscious. There it is, chapter 1. What a perfect paragraph to end with. If you think about this, and I'm going to repeat it because it's so good. Mastery of self, know thyself. Control of your thoughts and feelings is your highest achievement. If that's the truth of this, what is it going to take for you to become a master of your thoughts and feelings? And wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't that be your absolute highest priority, to control your thoughts and feelings? Because they are what dictate your experience. And if you want anything in your experience, marriage, you want health, you want wealth, you want freedom, anything in your experience is going to come about by controlling your thoughts and your feelings. However, until perfect self-control is attained, so that in spite of appearances you feel all that you want to feel, use sleep and prayer to aid you in realizing your desired states. You're feeling it, realize you fall to sleep. That's the SATS method, that's state akin to sleep. These are the two gateways into the subconscious, sleep and prayer. What a wonderful chapter. Oh my goodness. Chapter 1, Feeling is the Secret, 1944. That was The Law and Its Operation. It was the title of that chapter. And man, oh man, that was a good one. I hope you got something out of there. If you did, great, leave a comment below. Otherwise, we're going to see you in the next video. Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret, Chapter 2, Sleep. Sleep, the life that occupies 1/3 of our stay on earth, is the natural door into the subconscious. So, it is with sleep that we are now concerned. The conscious 2/3 of our life on earth is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Our understanding, now listen to that sentence. The conscious 2/3, which would be 16 hours, let's say, of our life on earth is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Our understanding of and delight in what sleep has to bestow will cause us, night after night, to set out for it as though we were keeping an appointment with a lover. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumbering upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. Job 33. It is in sleep and in prayer, a state akin to sleep, that man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receive his instructions. In these states, the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined. The male and female become one flesh. Sleep is the time when the male or conscious mind turns from the world of sense to seek its lover or subconscious self. The subconscious, unlike the woman of the world who marries her husband to change him, has no desire to change the conscious waking state, but loves it as it is and faithfully reproduces its likeness in the outer world of form. The conditions and events of your life are your children formed from the molds of your subconscious impressions in sleep. They are made in the image and likeness of your innermost feeling, that they may reveal you to yourself. As in heaven, so on earth. As in the subconscious, so on earth. Whatever you have in consciousness as you go to sleep is the measure of your expression in the waking 2/3 of your life on earth. Nothing stops you from realizing your objective save your failure to feel that you are already that which you wish to be, or that you are already in possession of the thing sought. Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel your wish fulfilled. What would be a great grade to start teaching children this, right? What would that be? Second grade? Third grade, for sure, you should already be fully versed at it. So maybe even first grade. All that is, I am God, right here in the middle. We are of Him. He created us in His image. We are each a self-concept of His. He is putting us all out there to learn for Him. We get our desires that fit our self-concept from Him, and therefore we affect our sleep with impressions. We impress ourselves by how we feel when we go to sleep. This has to be a feeling. Not only has to be, it has been our whole life. Whatever you are feeling as you fall to sleep or as you first wake up, you are impacting that subconscious of yourself. That subconscious takes it as a direct order and puts into manifestation the objective reality of what you feel. Famously said by Seth of the Seth Material, Jane Roberts and Seth Material, you create your own reality is his very much his catchphrase, just like Neville has your imagination creates reality. But with Seth's, he had a subtitle which was, you create your own reality, yes, but then he also says, by your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. What you believe, feeling is definitely emotion. And what you believe, you can consider that in the same camp. If you have a feeling and an emotion, and I'm going to stick to relationship here, about the opposite sex, then that is what you impress upon your subconscious. If you feel the opposite sex or the other side of the relationship you seek, let's call that the opposite sex of you, whatever you feel and you believe and you emote about that, just the sex alone is going to go into your subconscious, and that subconscious is going to deliver you the objective experience of what you believe, of what you emotionally feel about that. But as he said before, you must forgive. And forgiving means, the word forgiving in Neville's interpretation is imagination. So when you forgive man, that means you're imagining lovingly for man. So if you feel, emote, and believe all men are good, all men are loving, caring, and nurturing, which is the truth, because all of this is His work, all of it is to learn for Him, all of it is love. The most important thing there is love. He wouldn't give unless it was loving. So that's what we are here to learn. We're here to learn to wake up as Him, to be loving. The golden rule. As you change what you impress into your subconscious, you change what you experience in your objective reality. It's going to take a while. It could take a minute. It could take a week. It could take a year. Whatever it takes. I was referring to children. When do you start teaching them this? But it's like we are children. So we need to start teaching ourselves this right now and practice it. The more we practice this understanding and using the feeling we want to experience, which we're not experiencing, but we want to experience, we impact our subconscious. We become the new objective reality. We become examples. We have the right then to not preach to our brothers and sisters, but to lead by example. Once you practice the law like this, with this understanding, you then become an example. You become a leader by example. You don't even have to say anything to anybody. This has been a truth known for every age. This truth has been known. In this age of Neville, which we've had the luxury of having with his lectures and his books, it just happens to be another version of the same thing. The same truth that's been there for a long time. How did William Blake become alive with this? And we're going to get into that in the promise later, because there's a lot of good stuff about the promise. But as Seth said in his lectures, the truth is always available. And I believe this to be one of the forms of the truth, using the law to improve your life. That's why it's there. Okay, the unconscious of sleep is the normal state of the subconscious, because all things come from within yourself. And your conception of yourself determines that which comes. You should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel as true of others. We mentioned that recently, where the stack was filled up. Your self-concept is what you're experiencing, But not only that, you're experiencing what you think of everybody else. All the concepts you think of others are here right behind the self-concept you feel about yourself. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel as true of others. You must give others the benefit of the doubt. Always imagine lovingly and always give them a leg up. To be realized, then, the wish must be resolved into the feeling of being or having or witnessing the state sought. This is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish fulfilled? Is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. How would I feel were my wish fulfilled? Is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or to have before you drop off to sleep. Once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. His entire slumber is dominated by his last waking concept of self. I don't know why that reminds me. When we used to go surfing growing up, we'd be listening to the radio maybe in the morning or something. I don't know how we had the radio available, or maybe even the day before. But we'd go out surfing and it would be dominated by one song in our mind. And I would have one song on my mind, my buddy would have another song on his mind, and we'd be in the water for hours on end with this one song playing over and over and over. And I believe it was in our mind, as we drifted to sleep the night before, because in the morning, however we got to the beach, usually wasn't radio intense. It was more either riding our bike to the beach or riding in a car together. It was more focused on just getting there and then getting in the water. But it's funny because that last song that we had the day before was just on repeat. Repeating this statement, once asleep, man has no freedom of choice. His entire slumber is dominated by his last waking concept of self. It's the same concept here we're talking about. It follows, therefore, that he should always assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before he retires in sleep. Come before me with singing and thanksgiving. Enter into his gates, and thanksgiving will into his courts with praise. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Your mood prior to sleep defines your state of consciousness as you enter into the presence of your everlasting lover, the subconscious. She sees you exactly as you feel yourself to be. If as you prepare for sleep, you assume and maintain the consciousness of success by feeling, I am successful. I am successful. I am successful. You must be successful. Lie flat on your back with your head on a level with your body. That means without a pillow. Feel as you would were you in possession of your wish and quietly relax into unconsciousness. Feel as you were in possession of your wish and quietly relax into unconsciousness. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Nevertheless, he giveth his beloved sleep. The subconscious never sleeps. Very, very important statement. The subconscious never sleeps. Sleep is the door through which the conscious waking mind passes to be creatively joined to the subconscious. Sleep conceals the creative act while the objective world reveals it. Sleep conceals the creative act. Once you make that feeling impressed upon your subconscious, sleep conceals the creativity happening, the creative act, while the objective world reveals it. The objective world, which is your new reality, your old self-concept, your new self-concept. In sleep, man impresses the subconscious with his conception of himself. That conception is, I am successful. I am happily married. I am happily wealthy. I am happily healthy. I am happily full of freedom. I am successful. If in the least you say that, if it has become difficult to say, I am happily married and impress yourself here, or you feel like you're blocked, let's drop back a bit. Let's say, I am successful. I am in a happy relationship. Let's cut it back a tiny bit. It doesn't matter. Let's just play with it. You have to get some traction here. I am successful is a very, very decent place to start. You're not qualifying that statement. You're just saying, I am successful. Of course you are. You actually already are, because you're already doing this already consistently. So you're very successful at creating your own reality. What more beautiful description of this romance of the conscious and subconscious is there than that told in the Song of Solomon? By night on my bed I sought with whom my soul loveth. I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him, and I would not let him go until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. What a wonderful Song of Solomon. Preparing to sleep, you feel yourself into the state of the answered wish, and then relax into unconsciousness. Your realized wish is he whom you seek. Your realized wish is he whom you seek. You fall into your unconsciousness with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it objectifies. By night on your bed, you seek the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that you may take it with you into the chamber of her that conceived you, into sleep or the subconscious which gave you form, that this wish also may be given expression. This is the way to discover and conduct your wishes into the subconscious. Feel yourself in the state of the realized wish and quietly drop off to sleep. Night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having, and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. Never, never, never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. If you are one that has a habit of worrying before you fall to sleep, you are keeping yourself in a loop, in one of the most destructive loops. If you're going to sleep worried about what's in the world out here, and then your current self-concept is showing you the same, showing you the limitations that you believe exist, then you're getting caught in this infinite loop over and over and over. All you do is just worry, and you don't realize you're perpetuating the loop you're stuck in. Your worry, when you go to sleep, is perpetuating infinitely over and over the same thing you believe to be true, that the world is a limited place, that there's not enough for you. If your worry is, it doesn't matter, it's a limitation. Whatever that limitation that you are worried about, whether it's money or romance or finance, or if it's relationship or love, or if it's health, you believe that there's a limit. Because you believe somewhere, you got the impression, you put that idea of limitation into your subconscious, and now you're stuck in a loop. You look at the world, you feel your worry, you impress your subconscious, you look at the world, you feel your worry, you look at the effects, you look at the over and over and over. You are the only one that can stop this habit. There's a good joke. I forget what his name is. He had his own show for a while, but he's a comedian, and his show was pretty funny. But he had this joke on coaching, and all he did was he charged people this very small amount of money, and they had to pay him, but they could get no refund. And he would just yell at them for like a couple minutes and just say, "Stop it! Stop it!" And that's all he would say. They'd say their problem and what they felt and this loop they were in, and all he would say was, "Stop it!" This is, and sounds funny, but it is literally at the core of a lot of things. Habit is like a law. You think it's a law because you're stuck there, but you don't realize that the only one that's going to pull you out of that is you. You have to realize what you're doing. You're looking at the effects of your limitations, and you're believing that they are true. So then you look in the world and you see the same thing, because it's only a reflection of you. Everything is you pushed out. You look at the world, everything is you pushed out, so you see the world delivers you what you believe because you've been impressing your subconscious, and then you get stuck in this loop. Until you brew a new feeling about abundance, about love, about health, until you start ignoring this, closing off the senses, going within, and brewing a new feeling, I am successful. I care not what the world is trying to get me to believe or show me. That's off. I am successful. You put that feeling into your subconscious. That feeling will objectify that new reality. But it's only you that can pull yourself out of your habit. Of course, you can get the help from other people, but you have to be on that mission in the first place. But understand that it is a habit that can be changed. He is no respecter of persons. He's not here to judge if you're stuck or not. You're the one that's learning for him. He is learning through him, through her, through him, through her, through him, through her. We're all learning for all that is I am, God, him, our Father, whatever the words are that you call this. We're out here learning for our source. So if we want to be stuck in a loop, he's not going to judge us. There is no judgment coming because we're given the resources, which is the desire, to keep fulfilling this same perpetuating habit over and over and over. There's nothing judging that. But if you have a desire inside of you that says, I want something else, not just this same repeated pattern, now you have someplace to work from. You have a desire. Now you know by studying this material, there's a way. There's a way to bust out of the habit and bust onto some new ground. I am successful. Night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having, and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. Never. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. Never, 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 never sleep in the feeling of, never sleep in the consciousness of failure. Never. That's what revision is for, and I can't wait to get to revision. Oh my gosh, there's so much good revision. There's so much to be told in revision. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. A fast commercial for revision. See yourself, imagine yourself doing the thing you feel a failure at as having been a successful experience if it was in that day you experienced it, or if it was in third grade. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have in your mind can be revised, especially as you're falling asleep. It's revisable. It's revisable every single night. If it's a worry and you feel bad because you crashed on your bike as a 12-year-old and your friend saw you, and that is a perpetuating repeat pattern, you feel bad because of that one experience, revise it. See yourself popping a wheelie on that bike. You didn't crash and everybody was applauding how good your skills are on the bicycle. That's revision. We're going to get into that. That's not the point right now, but it is a very good point that goes alongside with this. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. Never. Your subconscious, whose natural state is sleep, sees you as you believe yourself to be. And whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, the subconscious will faithfully embody your belief. As you feel so, do you impress her? And she, the perfect lover, gives form to these impressions and outpictures them as the children of her beloved. You couldn't have a more perfect couple, you and your subconscious. You, the male, subconscious, the female. There is no better perfect couple. If that couple exists, which it does in each of us, then you can see that that union is faithfully serving you to create your current self-concept, and you might even be stuck in a loop. That perfect union, that perfect couple, that perfect lover of yours is there ready for you to make a change through feeling. Your perfect lover will serve you the new objective reality anytime you want. It doesn't matter when you want it. Anytime you want to make a change, you change the feeling as you're falling asleep, and that objectification in your new reality will happen. Thou art all fair, my love, there is no spot in thee, is the attitude of mind to adopt before dropping off to sleep. Thou art all fair, my love, there is no spot in thee, is the attitude of mind to adopt before dropping off to sleep. Disregard appearances and feel that things are as you wish them to be. For he calleth things that are not seen as though they were, and the unseen become seen. To assume the feeling of satisfaction is to call conditions into being which will mirror satisfaction. Signs follow, they do not precede. Proof that you are will follow the consciousness that you are. It will not precede it. What follows in your objective reality will not come before you push the feeling into your subconscious. Signs will follow, they will not precede. There isn't another self-concept that pushes you. No, Your feeling is how you push this new reality into being. Signs follow, they do not precede. They're not over here pushing you. You are in charge of your feeling. You are an eternal dreamer dreaming non-eternal dreams. Your dreams take form as you assume the feeling of their reality. Do not limit yourself to the past. Knowing that nothing is possible to consciousness, begin to imagine states beyond the experience of the past. Knowing that nothing is impossible to consciousness, anything is available. Knowing that nothing is impossible to consciousness, begin to imagine states beyond the experiences of the past. It doesn't matter if these are your past self-concepts. These have no play in where you have the opportunity to go. There's people with these things called actuaries that say when you're in a zip code and you're born there, that your reality will never be more than that. There's people that say if you are from that side of the tracks, you don't go with the girls from this side of the tracks. There's so much bullshit. You need to stop accepting the past as the authority over your life. You need not worry about the past. Just because you were here, and here, that doesn't mean you can't be here, or here, or here. And these could be millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. This could be you grew up and you were in poverty and it never changed in your household. The past has no say on what you have the opportunity to create for yourself. No say, no limitation. Knowing that nothing is impossible to consciousness, begin to imagine states beyond the experiences of the past. Whatever the mind of man can imagine, man can realize. All objective, visible states were first subjective, invisible states, and you called them into visible states by assuming the feeling of their reality. The creative process is first imagining and then believing the state imagined. Always imagine and expect the best. The world cannot change until you change your conception of it. The world cannot change until you change your conception of it. As within, so without. As within, so without. Nations as well as people are only what you believe them to be. No matter what the problem is, no matter where it is, no matter whom it concerns, you have no one to change but yourself, and you have neither opponent nor helper in bringing about the change within yourself. You have nothing to do but convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to see manifested. As soon as you succeed in convincing yourself of the reality of the state sought, results follow to confirm your fixed belief. You never suggest to another the state which you desire to see him express. Instead, you convince yourself that he is already that which you desire him to be. Realization of your wish is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You cannot fail unless you fail to convince yourself of the reality of your wish. A change of belief is confirmed by a change of expression. Every night as you drop off to sleep, feel satisfied, and spotless, for your subjective lover always forms the objective world in the image and likeness of your conception of it, the conception defined by your feeling. The waking two-thirds of your life on earth ever corroborates or bears witness to your subconscious impressions. The actions and events of the day are effects. They are not causes. Free will is only freedom of choice. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. Free will is the only freedom of choice. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve is your freedom to choose the kind of mood you assume. But the expression of the mood is the secret of the subconscious. The subconscious receives impressions only through the feelings of man, and in a way known only to itself, gives these impressions form and expression. The actions of man are determined by his subconscious impressions. His illusion of free will, his belief in freedom of action, is but ignorance of the causes which make him act. He thinks himself free because he has forgotten the link between himself and the event. Man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious impressions. That is when you're fully aware of how this law works. When you're awake, man awake is under compulsion to express his subconscious impressions. If in the past he unwisely impressed himself, then let him begin to change his thought and feeling. For only as he does so will he change his world. Do not waste one moment in regret. For to think feelingly of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. Very big quote of Neville's. It should be repeated 1,000 times if you have a problem here. If this is an issue here that is keeping you in this little bit of a loop. Do not waste one moment in regret. For to think feelingly of the mistakes of the past is to reinfect yourself. Let the dead bury the dead. Turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. Turn from appearances and assume the feeling that would be yours were you already the one you wish to be. Feeling a state produces that state. The part you play on the world's stage is determined by your conception of yourself. By feeling your wish fulfilled and quietly relaxing into sleep, you cast yourself in a star role to be played on earth tomorrow. And while asleep, you are rehearsed and instructed in your part. The acceptance of the end automatically wields the means of realization. Make no mistake about this. If, as you prepare for sleep, you do not consciously feel yourself into the state of the answered wish, then you will take with you into the chamber of her who conceived you the sum total of the reactions and feelings of the waking day. And while asleep, you will be instructed in the manner to which they will be expressed tomorrow. You will rise believing that you are a free agent, not realizing that every action and event of the day is predetermined by your concept of yourself as you fell asleep. Your only freedom then is your freedom of reaction. Remember, each day you are experiencing is a reflection of your previous evening. When you went to sleep, whatever you felt about your self-concept or felt about yourself is what you're experiencing. It doesn't matter what it is. So basically what you're experiencing in your current reality in your day right now is literally you living in your own past. Your past belief about your self-concept, about yourself. You're experiencing the shadow of what you believed when you went to sleep. So it behooves of you to change the feeling if in fact you want to change where you are. Whatever you believe about yourself last night when you fell asleep is what you're experiencing today. So today, being the shadow the three-dimensional shadow of your four-dimensional experience, this is actually a reflection of your past. Since this 3D is past, that means that shadow right there is also the past. It looks like it's in the present, doesn't it? Your 3D self is the past. It's what you believed last night when you fell asleep. What you felt about your self-concept as you went to sleep, that's what was objectified. And that is what you're experiencing. And if you're stuck in a loop, at least you know now what you must change is your feeling about your self-concept. Is it one of limitation? Or is it feeling myself in the wish fulfilled? How does it feel now that I am in complete abundance, in relationship, in wealth, in health? Your only freedom then is your freedom of reaction. You are free to choose how you feel and react to the day's drama. But the drama, the actions, events, and circumstances of the day have already been determined. See, reaction, because if in your current day you're only reacting to your past, then your only freedom then is the freedom of reaction. You are free to choose how you feel and react to the day's drama. If in fact here I am wealthy, I feel wealthy and I feel the success of it, and I wake up and my bank account says something else, you must react as if it is full. You must react as if you're not concerned about the price of things, of an object you need to purchase for whatever reason. You're not concerned because you know more abundance is within you. Your only freedom then is your freedom of reaction. You are free to choose how you feel and react to the day's drama, but the drama, the actions, events, and circumstances of the day have already been determined by you, in fact. Unless you consciously and purposely define the attitude of mind with which you go to sleep, you unconsciously go to sleep in the composite attitude of mind made up of all feelings and reactions of the day. Unless you consciously and purposely, unless you consciously and purposely define the attitude of mind with which you go to sleep, you unconsciously go to sleep in the composite attitude of mind made up of the feelings and reactions of the day. It's like saying, okay, I woke up and my reality is such, it's the same thing I had yesterday. So you're in this loop. Your day is literally, you see the same thing in the world, you believe the same thing about yourself, and then you wake up and experience it. And this reaction, this is here you reacting to what you believe in the first place. And then you see the world and it causes the same reaction within you to feel the same way. Then you go through the next day and you just repeat it. Have you seen Groundhog Day? If you haven't, it's a wonderful movie. Another doozy with a curveball message like that is Palm Springs, I believe. Groundhog Day is the better one. Unless you consciously and purposely define the attitude of mind with which you go to sleep, you unconsciously go to sleep in the composite attitude of mind made up of all the feelings and reactions of the day. Every reaction makes a subconscious impression, and unless counteracted by an opposite and more dominant feeling, is the cause of future action. It's that loop. You're reacting to the reality, the composite reality you believe, and then your belief goes over here and puts the same feeling. You look at the world, it gives you exactly what you think is there, and that loop just goes over and over and over. You experience and you react and you believe and you impress. You look at the world and you believe and impress. You go to sleep, you wake up. Groundhog Day. You have to break the cycle. You have to break the habit. You have to start impressing, I am successful. You have to stop it. The sentence is wonderful. Every reaction makes a subconscious impression. Every reaction. If you find yourself reacting emotionally to something, that is making a subconscious impression. And unless counteracted by an opposite and more dominant feeling, is the cause of future action. Ideas enveloped in feeling are creative action. Ideas enveloped in feeling is the cause of future action. I mentioned earlier the Seth material. You create your own reality by your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. That's saying the same thing. Ideas enveloped in feeling are creative actions. Use your divine right wisely. Through your ability to think and feel, you have dominion over all creation. That should be a million exclamation points in your ears right now. Through your ability to think and feel, you have dominion over all creation. Anything you're experiencing, any self-concept, you have dominion over because of your ability to think and feel. You're the one in charge of your subconscious. Even though you're living in the world of effect, which is your 3D reality, your conscious waking reality, you have one key that gives you the ability to change the 3D reality, your waking world, the world of effects, is by affecting the world of cause, which is your subconscious, by going to sleep with the feeling of success. This is the key. While you are awake, you are a gardener selecting seed for your garden. But except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone, but if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. Your conception of yourself as you fall asleep is the seed you drop into the ground of the subconscious. Dropping off to sleep feeling satisfied and happy compels conditions and events to appear in your world which confirm these attitudes of mind. I don't know why there was a movie, it won't leave my mind right now, but it was, there was a movie called, I think it was called Billy Budd. He was a sailor, he was on a ship. He was a very simple-minded person, young, simple-minded person. The captain was very ornery and very mean. And this one comment was made about the slop they were eating, known as the soup. And it was presented to Billy Budd, who was always full of enthusiasm and had a very positive spirit, of which we're trying to brew up right here. And all this negativity existed in the other sailors aboard this ship, and this very ruthless captain, and I forget the era, this might be the 1800s maybe, but it was brought to Billy's attention that the food was just the worst thing you could eat. And Billy Budd's optimism, he just had the reaction of, he simply stated, yeah, but it's hot and there's plenty of it. And that is the attitude of mind to have. One person's negative is your opportunity to be positive. And then if you go to sleep in that positive attitude, the soup is hot and there's plenty of it, versus the other one saying there's not enough protein in the soup, or whatever the limited idea was in that other negative sailor. If you're staying in the optimism, then you're going to take that impression to sleep. Look at how much abundance is in the world. There is an infinite supply, because, especially that you know now, it is all consciousness. All of this is consciousness. You are creating it. You have been created by Him. I and my Father are one. My Father is greater than I. I am consciousness of that which my Father is consciousness. All of this is consciousness. My self-concept is consciousness. If I want a different self-concept, that's just a different form of consciousness. If I want a different form of consciousness, if this one is in poverty, this one is in wealth, it's just a different form of consciousness. There's a study regarding wealth. A lottery winner won something like, I don't know, it was 315 million. I forget the guy's name, is maybe Jake or something like this. Whitaker, I think is the name. Don't hold me to that. But he never developed the mindset of abundance from the story. The story is very tragic, but the lottery winner with the 315 million, he never changed his consciousness. He accepted the check. People in his life died, two people, in fact. And before he knew it, he was penniless again. And his regret was looking back. He died at age 72. But looking back on the whole experience, he said he wished he would have tore the ticket up. His granddaughter was negatively impacted by the money, became hooked on drugs, and then was just fueling her friends with money because this grandfather would give her money and she would go try to make her friends happy with the money. The consciousness of these people, of this man, He did not change. So he was in a loop of limitation. His world of limitation was in this loop over and over and over. Even though you handed the man $315 million, he didn't change his consciousness, so his experience changes. So you'd fritter away the money. You'd go to the strip club and you'd take $50,000 inside to the strip club and want to spend it right there. And then another story is he was bragging about $500,000 in a briefcase on the seat of his car. People heard that. They went and they broke the window and took the $500K out of the car. This consciousness of the man was not being judged by his creator. Why should the creator judge his consciousness? He's doing the work of realizing for him. He is in his loop over and over. He's got a limited consciousness about money. Then he experiences that in the daytime, then he experiences it in the nighttime, and over and over and over. This loop goes over and over and over. And no matter if he had 315 million or 1 billion, it didn't matter. He was going to fritter it away in the way he did it. And it's not a fun story if you look it up, but it is a story. And it is a story. When I saw it, I realized that if the man, the wonderful man, we're all God, we're all brothers and sisters. But if he didn't change his consciousness to go with that new reward, something got him the ticket that won that lottery. That is a very good point. Okay, so that's a point where he impressed into his subconscious the winning of that. But he didn't change his consciousness on the possession of it. The possession of it, he fell back and looked back like Lot's wife on his previous. He was enough to impress himself to win the ticket. But then when he looked back on his past and thought, okay, I only come from this zip code, and I can only do these things, and I can go to the strip club and do that and be whatever, in that reality, he lives one of limitation over and over. He didn't go to the abundance route with the newfound wealth. He stayed in the old mindset, and he was in a negative loop. I say negative, it doesn't matter. It was fulfilling to him. But again, on his end of his life, he regretted the ticket. He said he wished he would have tore it up. He lost his granddaughter to the effect of the money, the way he used the money, all right? And I think it was his another person close to him, either sister or wife, I forget the details of the story, but it's one story of many that is about consciousness. This is all about consciousness. Everything is consciousness. We can change our consciousness anytime we make an impression onto our subconscious. Our conscious waking state will change to follow suit. Sleep is the door into heaven. What you take in as a feeling, you bring out as a condition, action, or object in space. So sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. As in consciousness, so on earth. As in consciousness, so on earth. What a wonderful chapter. Oh my gosh. Feeling is the secret, and it really is. Sleep, chapter 2. I really do hope you got something out of that. If you did, leave a comment. No worries if you don't. We'll talk about it later. We'll catch up, of course, but this is wonderful, wonderful stuff. We'll see you in the next chapter. Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret, Chapter 3, Prayer. Prayer, like sleep, is also an entrance into the subconscious. When you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father which is in secret, and your Father which is in secret shall reward you openly. Prayer is an illusion of sleep which diminishes the impression of the outer world and renders the mind more receptive to suggestion from within. The mind in prayer is in a state of relaxation and receptivity akin to the feeling attained just before dropping off to sleep. Prayer is not so much what you ask for as how you prepare for its reception. Whatsoever things ye desire when ye pray, believe that you have received them, and ye shall have them. The only condition required is that you believe that your prayers are already realized. Going to the end. Your prayer must be answered if you assume the feeling that you would be yours. Your prayer must be answered if you assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your objective. The moment you accept the wish as an accomplished fact, the subconscious finds means for its realization. To pray successfully, then, you must yield to the wish, that is, feel the wish fulfilled. The perfectly disciplined man is always in tune with the wish as an accomplished fact. He knows that consciousness is the one and only reality, that ideas and feelings are facts of consciousness and are as real as objects in space. Therefore, he never entertains a feeling which does not contribute to his happiness, for feelings are the causes of the actions and circumstances of his life. On the other hand, the undisciplined man finds it difficult to believe that which is denied by the senses, and usually accepts or rejects solely on appearances of the senses. How, as an example, a prisoner of war, let's change into a different subject completely, of course. A prisoner of war, this crossed my mind this morning, would have to have a very disciplined mind. The perfectly disciplined man is always in tune with the wish as an accomplished fact. In World War II and other wars, there were prisoners of war that had to ignore the senses they were seeing in front of them and put themselves in the feeling of arriving home again. And this is how some of them survived many, many years of being prisoners of war. That crossed my mind this morning because if you think that in your reality you have limitations, you compare yourself to someone who was a prisoner of war in World War II, who had massive limitations. Again, here's all that is, I am God. Here's your self-concept. There's another self-concept. Many self-concepts exist in reality. If those limitations in front of you are telling you you're a prisoner of war, but yet you can impress yourself with that freedom you will experience again, you will ignore what you see in the world. You will ignore your five senses and you will maintain that image that you will be free again. Because if you're a prisoner, you definitely desire freedom. The prisoner of war concept is fascinating because there was definitely some studies, and there was some certain prisoners of war that these Americans were in a Japanese prisoner of war camp for like years. And when they finally were freed, they mentioned how they used to reread books in their mind while they were in this deeply fasted ketosis state because they were barely eating anything. And they raised to these levels of brilliance within themselves while in that state. This is a state none of us wish on each other, of course, but due to the circumstances that they were in, they were able to exercise their consciousness in radical ways. I don't think we barely realize our potential, and we're going into learning it here in a massive, massive way. But there's so much potential within us; it's unbelievable. But we're definitely peeling back the onion right now and exposing some of this through this work. On the other hand, the undisciplined man finds it difficult to believe that which is denied by the senses and usually accepts or rejects solely on appearances of the senses. Because of this tendency to rely on the evidence of the senses, it is necessary to shut them out before starting to pray, before attempting to feel that which they deny. Whenever you are in a state of mind, whenever you are in the state of mind, I should like to, but I cannot, the harder you try, the less you are able to yield to the wish. You never attract that which you want, but always attract that which you are conscious of being. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of being and having that which you want. When the senses confirm the absence of your wish, all conscious effort to counteract this suggestion is futile and tends to intensify the suggestion. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of being and having that which you want. I am that. I am married. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am free. I am. Prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of being and having that which you want. When the senses confirm, when the senses, the world and the senses confirm the absence of your wish, All conscious effort to counteract this suggestion is futile and tends to intensify the suggestion. Prayer is the art of yielding to the wish and not forcing of the wish. Not the forcing of the wish. Whenever your feeling is in conflict with your wish, feeling will be the victor. The dominant feeling invariably expresses itself. Prayer must be without effort. In attempting to fix an attitude of mind which is denied by the senses, effort is fatal. To yield successfully to the wish as an accomplished fact, you must create a passive state, a kind of reverie and meditative reflection similar to the feeling which precedes sleep. In such a relaxed state, the mind is turned from the objective world and easily senses the reality of excuse me. Let me repeat that sentence. In such a relaxed state, the mind is turned from the objective world and easily senses the reality of a subjective state. It is a state in which you are conscious and quite able to move or open your eyes, but have no desire to do so. An easy way to create this passive state is to relax in a comfortable chair or on a bed. If on a bed, lie flat on your back with your head on a level with your body. Close the eyes and imagine that you are sleepy. Feel, I am sleepy, so very sleepy. In a little while, a faraway feeling accompanied by a general lassitude and loss of all desire to move envelops you. In a little while, a faraway feeling accompanied by a general lassitude and loss of all desire to move envelops you. You feel a pleasant, comfortable rest and not inclined to alter your position, although under other circumstances you would not be at all comfortable. When this passive state is reached, imagine that you have realized your wish, not how it was realized, but simply the wish fulfilled. Imagine in picture form what you desire to achieve in life. Then feel yourself as already having achieved it. Thoughts produce tiny little speech movements which may be heard in the passive state of prayer as pronouncements from without. Thoughts produce tiny little speech movements which may be heard in the passive state of prayer as pronouncements from without. However, this degree of passivity is not essential to the realization of your prayers. All that is necessary is to create a passive state and feel the wish fulfilled. All you can possibly need or desire is already yours. You need no helper to give it to you. It is yours now. Call your desires into being by imagining and feeling your wish fulfilled. As the end is accepted, you become totally indifferent as to possible failure, for acceptance of the end wills the means to that end. As the end is accepted within you, as your feelings feel the end, as the end is accepted, you become totally indifferent as to possible failure. For acceptance of the end wills the means to that end. You're not concerned with how. When you emerge from the moment of prayer, it is as though you were shown the happy and successful end of a play, although you were not shown how the end was achieved. However, having witnessed the end, regardless of any anticlimactic sequence, you remain calm and secure in the knowledge that the end has been perfectly defined. Wonderful, wonderful chapter, prayer. Very, very important piece of this. Yeah, it's a very short 2-page chapter. It is hard to really express the importance of this concept because any subconscious impression is an art of prayer. If you're doing it with your eyes open while driving and imagining that parking space or imagining lovingly for that homeless person, you're doing prayer in the awake state. And you're actually going into the Sabbath with the same prayer that you would use if you're closed off to the senses, you're lying in bed, lying in your comfortable chair, you're seeing the art of the end, which is, that art is you in that picture of being, experiencing coming home from your honeymoon in Hawaii. You're walking through the door with your partner. You've been married. You've been on the honeymoon. The art of imagining that and feeling that is prayer. It's a very small amount of effort he's put into this book to describe this, but it's the largest thing you're doing anytime you're actually imagining. If you're imagining with feeling, you are in prayer. And as we said in the last chapter, I believe it was, anytime you have feeling attached to an emotional reaction about anything, that is a form of prayer. That's prayer in action. It's happening. When you have a reaction with feeling to anything out in the world, that's a form of prayer. So prayer is always present when feeling is present. The news hits you with some very captivating images, and you react to them emotionally. That is a form of prayer. Don't think that these agencies don't know what they're doing by getting your attention with more fantastic things. And incidentally, there's very fantastic things happening with fires right now, and they're not wonderful at all. It's a subject for another video, but my, oh my prayers go out wonderfully as I can possibly imagine, just the best for all involved. It's very, very intense right now. So I send my prayers as you should yours. And my prayers are that all the phoenix rises from the ashes, and all people who are impacted all have a wonderful outcome. We can see them having the wonderful lives getting better, lives improving. This is the best form of prayer. To ignore the senses of what is being portrayed to the reality of what has happened and see the positive outcome. I know it's a very, very touchy subject, but prayer is also this. Prayer is seeing the success after the turmoil. That is how the energy travels. It goes back into consciousness, and that consciousness is what gives the desire in all different people experiencing. All of us are having experience, so we're all getting a desire. Prayer is the most important concept among all of this. Anytime you have a reaction with feeling, you are in prayer. You think of a friend, think the positive and feel them telling you about their new wonderful news. You have a feeling about your boss. Think the positive, feel the positive. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. They're giving me a raise. They're giving me a promotion. They're giving me more vacation time. I can't believe it, but man, it happened and I feel much better because of it. Prayer is a consistent rolling thing that you are part of. Feeling is involved, which it always is. You're always in prayer. So just remember that. All right. Feeling is the secret, chapter 3, prayer. We'll see you in the next chapter. Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret, chapter 4, last chapter, Spirit Feeling. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Get into the spirit of the state desired by assuming the feeling that would be yours, were you already the one you want to be. As you capture the feeling of the state sought, you are relieved of all effort to make it so, for it is already so. There is a definite feeling associated with every idea in the mind of man. There's a definite feeling associated with every idea in the mind of man. Yeah, oh my gosh, that is so powerful. A definite feeling. Okay, so the mind of man. Here we are, all that is, I am, God, right in the middle. We are all self-concepts sent out by Him. We are learning for Him. And every conceivable thing that could be is. And it's all plugged into the same source. So there is a definite feeling associated with every idea in the mind of man. This idea here, this man, this self-concept has ideas, this has ideas, and this has ideas. This is a person who's a thousandaire, this is a person who's a millionaire, and this is a person who's a billionaire. There's a definite feeling associated with every idea. If your idea is one of thousandaire, that's great. There's a millionaire and a billionaire. Capture the feeling associated with your realized wish by assuming the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of the thing you desire, and your wish will objectify itself. If you're the thousandaire and you want to be the millionaire, you capture the feeling of what that would be like. You capture the feeling. What would that be like if you're the millionaire? That's definitely not enough. You need more. You capture the feeling of what it would be like to be a billionaire. Would you have to work 10 times harder? Would you have to work 10 times harder as a thousandaire? Or let's say you're single and you want to be married in a relationship, and here's the relationship. What does it feel like to be married? There's a definite feeling associated with every idea in the mind of man. It doesn't matter if we're talking about money or marriage or health. You want to capture the feeling associated with your realized wish by assuming the feeling that would be yours. What does the feel like? Were you already in possession of the thing you desire, and your wish will objectify itself? Once you capture the feeling, once, see it work, you will put it to use like crazy. Faith is feeling, period. According to your faith, be it unto you. You never attract that which you want, but always that which you are. As a man is, so does he see. To him that hath, it shall be given, and to him that hath not, it shall be taken away. That which you feel yourself to be, you are, and you are given that which you are. So assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your wish, and your wish must be realized. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. So God created man in his own image. So created excuse me, I don't want to miss the quote. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. We're all from that same source. We're all plugged in to the same source, consciousness. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. You are that which you believe yourself to be. Instead of believing in God or in Jesus, believe you are God or you are Jesus. He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. Should be. Now this is very rare for Neville to do this, but he's giving a should here, all right? But it's very worthy to take that risk for him right here. He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, should be. He that believes as I believe, the works that I do shall he do also. Jesus found it not strange to do the works of God because he believed himself to be God. I and my Father are one. It is natural to do the works of the one you believe yourself to be. So live in the feeling of being the one you want to be, and you shall be. When a man believes in the value of the advice given and applies it, he establishes within himself the reality of success. End of chapter, end of book. Wow, that's very powerful stuff right there. Yes, I hope you've been reading along also. It's a nice way to actually get the pauses and get the commentary and editorial, but it keeps the flow going as well, because as you read, of course, your own mind fills it with imagination, but if you use these chapters as a way to bounce with it, I think it can add quite a bit to the study. What a great book. Feeling is the Secret, 1944. I know this book came out of his experience also with the 1943 experience he had when he wanted to be out of the Army. He didn't want to participate in what was going on, which I agree with him on that level. He manifested his way out by feeling himself out of the Army. There's a lecture on it. Maybe we'll go over it. But the idea is that he was in a place he didn't want to be, and he used his principles he spoke about in this very book. He felt himself home. He felt himself walking in his apartment, in New York with his wife and daughter. He felt the furniture. When he went to sleep in the barracks or wherever he was in the berthing, he literally on his cot, if you know what an army cot is, not the most comfortable thing there is, but he imagined himself in bed with his wife next to him. I think she had another bed in his dream imagery, but he wasn't doing this for an R&R break of a fantastic conjugal visit. He was doing it for the experience of being home. He actually mentions that part in her lecture. But with his daughter in her crib at the time, he felt while he was falling asleep that he was in New York. He requested to be let out of the Army. They said no at first, and after he did this imagination, 9 days later, his commander approved his release, and by the end of that day, he was on his way home. And if you can imagine that somebody got out of World War II that easily, that's very mind-blowing, but he's put it to practice even before he wrote the book, Feeling is a Secret. So many wonders to dig out of the Neville material, but that World War II experience is a huge one. And when you come across that lecture, it is very, very good as an example of practice. Wow. All right, Feeling is a Secret. We will see you in the next video.